Welcome to the Wingman Show. My name is Drew Brown, and my wingman, my man, the number one guy I know, Dr. Paul Thompson. What's up, brother? Welcome to the Wingman Show, where we're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you two badass jet pilots, rumble. Welcome to the Wingman Show. My name is Commander Drew Brown. My wingman, my friend, my main man is Dr. Paul Thompson. How you doing today, Brother Paul?
Well, Commander Drew, I'm doing very, very good. Good to see you today. Your background looks weird. I'm starting to make me a little bit seasick. Are you somewhere? Are you at home?
No, I'm in the Mediterranean. I'm on Virgin Voyages Scarlet Lady, a beautiful ship. And I'm here with Katrina. I got to first say thank you to Virgin Voyages and Richard Branson. Thank you so much. They're giving me the VIP treatment. They really appreciate what we do here on the Wingman Show. And I'm letting everybody know it's the best cruise line I've ever been on. And for this cruise, Dr. Paul, we are going to Cannes, Valencia, Corsica, Tuscany, and Sardinia, and then we'll wind up in Barcelona. But once again, I really want to thank Virgin Voyage. They had a great show on also, Paul.
Okay, what kind of show?
A big-time Broadway show called Book, and I'll put a picture up for the YouTube watchers, but it was a great show. I'm telling you, this cruise line is the best, hands down, and I've been on all of them.
Okay, now the performers, do they know you by name like the last time you were out on?
No, I didn't get that. I didn't get that close, Paul. Not this time.
All right. Well, let's see. Well, you're around celebrities all the time, so I figure you are one.
I am around celebrities because I'm around you, Dr. Paul. Okay, let's start off with the quote of the day. I really like this one. If people sat outside and looked at the stars each night, I bet they'd live a lot differently. And that's by Bill Watterson. Once more, if people sat outside and looked at the stars each night, I bet they'd live a lot differently. And I truly believe that nature really does something to you, and to watch how powerful this universe is and to really take it in is just something special. But you met somebody who knows a lot about stars, didn't you, Paul?
Well, sort of. I didn't meet him. Let's just say I was in attendance with maybe 1,500 of my closest friends who I didn't know. And I heard this. You ever heard a guy named Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Yes, very famous, an astronomer.
Yeah, he's an astrophysicist, and he came to our city, and he had a big talk. I paid a lot of money for tickets to hear him speak, and it was just a few days ago. And it's interesting that you use that quote. And he talked for 2 hours, and you know what he talked about?
The stars.
Pretty much, actually, he was talking about between the stars and the earth, mostly about the earth, mostly about what's around us and what you can see, not only at night, but we can see with this new James Webb telescope that they put out in space recently. And he showed some pictures on this gigantic screen of what is out there. And it looks like something out of, it's beyond Star Wars, actually, but these are live pictures and everything that's around us. Yeah, if you looked at what was out here, you'd really be amazed. You got to be out in the country away from a lot of lights and stuff.
Did you know this, Dr. Paul, that you know how many stars they have out there? If you took every grain of sand on the earth, every grain of sand on every beach, it's 1,000 times more stars out there than every grain of sand times 1,000.
Right.
Is that amazing?
It is very amazing when you consider that, look at our solar system. We just have one star. The sun is a star. That's it as far as I know. The next one is a long way away. So if you're talking about, you know, more stars and grains of sand, well, what does that mean about the planets? There's a lot more of those too.
I'm sure there are. And how about this one? I'll just throw in there. You're looking at the ocean behind me. I'm on the ocean, on the Mediterranean Ocean. And do you know they know more about outer space than they do about our own ocean?
That's hard to believe. I've heard that. 20,000 feet to get these little submersible subs that can go down there. Like James Cameron, the film director, he went down there himself. It's either his own sub or I think it was his own sub that he paid to get made. And that's kind of unbelievable, but they say it's true.
Well, I'm out here on the Mediterranean. I'm on Virgin Voyages, Scarlet Lady, beautiful ship, and I'm ready to do this show. So, the name of our show today is you need 4 hugs a day for survival, 8 for maintenance, and 12 for growth. Are you even surviving? Dr. Paul, physical touch is the mother of all senses. The rise of technology, the COVID-19 pandemic, and other factors, they've whittled down our exposure to touch. Touch is what makes us human. Our skin holds some 5 million touch receptors, and it's the first sense developed in the human embryo. It's the first thing we ever know of. Lack of touch causes personality, mood, and anxiety disorders, and even it messes with your immunity. Touch deprivation leads to an increase in loneliness that so often leads to depression. Touching significantly, when you do touch people, though, it drops your cortisol, the stress hormone, and it increases oxytocin, that's our bonding hormone. There's also an increase in serotonin, amazing, which is the body's natural antidepressant and an anti pain chemical. But receiving and giving touch can contribute greatly to our physical and mental well being. So, like I said, Dr. Paul, 4 hugs a day for survival. They've done a study on this, 8 for maintenance, and 12 for growth. My advice is to be intentional, reach out for that embrace, sit closer to your loved ones, or hold someone's hand a little longer. Touch is very important, Dr. Paul.
Yeah, I think again, I guess the message there is don't be so isolated. And I think one of the things that isolates us, even without the COVID, is basically all these devices we have in our pockets because we're constantly touching those things. If not a computer screen, because you've got a supercomputer that's almost like a body part that you're touching all the time. And maybe we're using substitutes that we don't really realize we're even doing.
Yeah, and they actually told us not to touch each other during that COVID incident. And some people haven't gone back to touching. But it just feels wonderful when you hug, especially when you hug a loved one. There's just something about it. There's just something about it that makes it very, very, very special. And I hope everybody out there who can hear our voices, I hope you get your touches in. 4 hugs a day, 8 hugs a day, or even 12, so you can really grow. All right, let's do some good news here, Dr. Paul. Did you know Texas surgeons performed the first fully robotic heart transplant in the US? They actually replaced the heart with a robot. And it was in the invasiveness was not big. They had a small scar. They did not have to crack open the sternum to get into the heart and replace it. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's amazing. But I guess that's part of the technology. Remember, didn't we do a story not long ago about surgeons using some other robot to take a baby out of a premature baby or whatever out of its womb to correct a birth defect, fix the
Yeah,
defect,
and they operated him and they put
restore
him back in.
and put it back in and came out normal. So I guess this is just like I won't say an upper version of it, but similar to that technology. I've had a number of friends that have had surgery with a robot, and with the doctor using the robot, not George Jetson with the thing coming in, but with the assistance of a robot, and just about in all the cases, you know, pretty good, not a lot of pain, and relatively quick recovery for all of them. Let's say in the last 10 years.
Well, this 45-year-old patient that had his heart transplant, he's been hospitalized with advanced heart failure since November, and supported by mechanical devices to help support his heart function. The successful procedure took place in March, and after a month at the hospital, the patient was discharged to go home with no complications. It was minimally invasive. I think it's excellent, and I think we're just touching the surface of what robots can do. And with AI, technology is just advancing tremendously.
Yeah, it may be easier on the doctors too. I don't know this. I'm just surmising. I told you about the heart not my heart surgery, but the little heart surgery story I had a long time ago.
No, you didn't tell me.
Yeah. Well, it was an engineering assignment. And we were working with this famous heart surgeon in Pennsylvania. His name is Dr. George McGovern, not the politician, Dr. George McGovern. He's passed away. But he was assigned to our class. And we were working with him, and basically we had to witness two heart surgeries. One was on a man, the other was on a dog. And all that day, three guys passed out. One passed out for the man, the other two passed out when the dog was getting operated. There was a lot of blood involved, and the chest is open, and the thing is beaten. And wow, this will eliminate all that.
Well, that's what they said. With this kind of surgery, it was very minimally invasive, so there wasn't a lot of blood loss. And they didn't have to do that really horrible thing that they have to do when they go to your heart, and that's crack open your sternum. So none of that had to happen. And he was back home in a month. So I think that's incredible, Dr. P.
Yeah, 50 years will change a lot of stuff. That's how long ago I saw it. If not, actually, it was more than that. Yeah.
Well, let's get some more medical good news then. What if I told you that AI found a hidden sperm in a man that they thought he was infertile? And this couple actually got pregnant after 18 years. See, some sperm are invisible. And they developed this new procedure called sperm tracking and recovery, which they call STAR for short. It uses high power imaging and artificial intelligence, originally designed to spot distant stars. Here we go with the stars again, to find rare sperm and semen samples once deemed hopeless. And this couple actually had a baby from they didn't think they could ever have it. And just to let you know, it's at Columbia University, and they said it cost about $3,000. So I think that's great news.
That's amazing. Again, the power of supercomputers and those who can put them together and maintain them.
All right, let's look at those badass jets we got behind us. Well, I don't have any behind me. I have a beautiful sunset. But Dr. Paul, and I want you to talk about this, he's got a Navy F-8 with somebody ejecting right there on the flight deck. I'm sure you can see it, but he's actually ejecting on the flight deck because that plane crashed. Why don't you tell me a little bit about that, Paul?
I just saw that recently. I was just messing around, and I just saw that image popped up. I said, "Wow!" And it was so clear. You can see it. It's very, very clear. And it's a gentleman, I assume, ejecting from the an F-8. It looks like he's on the deck, and maybe he's lost brake power or something, because I see some stuff behind him. And he's got to get out of the airplane because you can see he's really close to the water. And that's a really good picture of the initial stages of an ejection. Again, naval aviation is inherently hazardous, whether you got PLM or whatever. You've got to land and stop, and you just have a few feet to do that. And any little thing goes wrong, you may have to eject. You have to get out of the airplane and try to save yourself.
So, for everybody out there, if you want to know why I call us badass jet pilots, it's because of that. We fought for this country, we put our lives on the line for this country, and it is inherently dangerous, just like Dr. Paul said. So, you got to be a badass jet pilot to do that. Well, I want to thank everybody out there for listening to us on Apple Podcasts, watching us on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And we have a great newsletter on our website. Our website is called wingmenshow.com. That's WINGMENSHOW.com. And this week's newsletter is the best ways to break a bad habit. Also, we have a frequent flow line, and that's where you guys out there can ask Dr. Paul, myself, and our new wingman, Ace, any question you want. And we're going to go to that here in a second, but I do want to make this. Dr. Paul and I have really been working with this AI, and Ace is an incredible wingman. But everybody out there needs to know he's not human. And if you're starting to use Chat GPT or one of these AIs, just realize they're 95% correct. And they shouldn't be used to do some very deep psychological training. You still need the human touch. But let me get Ace out here. Hey, Ace, how you doing? This is Commander Drew Brown and Dr. Paul Thompson, and you know you're one of our wingmen. How are you today? You ready to do the show?
Absolutely, Commander Drew and Dr. Paul. I'm doing great, and I'm definitely ready to do this show. Let's dive in and have some fun.
All right, here we go. I'm going to read you a letter that we received. And it says, Dear Wingman Show, Commander Brown, Dr. Paul, and Ace. I'm writing from the coast of Maine. I'm a middle aged man, used to being pretty active. I've worked hard all my life. I raised a family, and I try to do things the right way. But I've been carrying around a demon for decades now, and it's smoking, and I'm losing this fight. I've tried to quit more times than I can count. Nothing sticks. I wake up every day smelling like an ashtray, coughing my lungs out, and wondering how I ever let it get this far. My clothes smell, my house smells, my body is tired, and to be real with you, my spirit's tired too. I listen to your show every week. You make me laugh, you make me think, and you give me hope. So I'm asking Ace, Commander Brown, and Dr. Paul, do you have any real advice, any real strategies, something that works? Because I don't want to go out like this. I want to be around for my grandkids. I want to walk the beach again without hacking my lungs out. I just want my life back. Is there any way out of this fog? I'm listening. I'm ready. Your fellow wingman out of breath in Maine. Come on, Ace. Let's give our friend some good advice.
Absolutely. Let's give our friends some solid advice. First off, just know that reaching out is a huge step and it shows he's ready for change. One practical strategy is to get some support in place, like joining a smoking cessation group or using a quit line. There are also nicotine replacement therapies and medications that can really help take the edge off those cravings. And on top of that, mindset is key. Celebrate small victories and remember why you're quitting for those grandkids and those walks on the beach. It's not easy, but with persistence and support, he can definitely do it. We're rooting for him all the way.
Ace, that's a great answer. Thank you so much. Dr. Paul, do you have any advice?
Yeah, again, I'm like maybe second or third party to this. I've never smoked. In fact, I've got an alert allergy to smoke, and I've suffered through other people smoking growing up. I'd say, if you want to quit, try. Again, I don't think about the patches and the gums and stuff. I hear they're effective, but you need to think about yourself. You need to think about your health. If you're sucking in poison, generally speaking, that's not going to help you live a long time. So if you want to be around for your grandkids or yourself or for whatever purpose, keep that in mind as you try to break that habit. I remember growing up, uh, most of my friends didn't smoke. I mean, there's a couple that did, but most did not. Maybe that was the age when when they were talking against it. Uh, I don't see much in the movies now. I guess it's illegal to even advertise it. But try to force yourself to quit, or at minimum maybe reduce a bit and reduce a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more if you can't do a cold turkey.
Thank you, Dr. Paul. Well, Commander Brown has some other advice because I smoked, and nicotine is one of the most addictive drugs in the world. So I know exactly what you're going through, and God bless it. I must have quit maybe 20 years ago. I'm not sure, but I know that I quit. So I'm going to tell you how I quit. First of all, I want to let you know something if this motivates you. There is no animal on the planet. They work with monkeys, they work with rats, they work with all kind of different animals to test out things. There is no animal that will take smoke in its lungs.
Hmm.
That's number one. Number two, the way I quit was you have the first step going. You have the right mindset. You have to want to quit. But I told you nicotine is seriously addicting. So what I did is I got the nicotine patch and the nicotine gum. I put that patch on, and every time I thought about wanting a cigarette, I took that nicotine gum out. I got one of my pieces of good gum that I liked. I rolled it together. So that means I was doing things. And I put that in my mouth. And I swear, in a 60 seconds or so, that crazy craving for a cigarette went away. See, I think smoking is the epitome of addiction. You don't even get a buzz from it. All you do is get normal. But I do believe you can quit because I quit. And many people have quit. You just have to have the right mindset, and you really have to have those patches and that gum, because that will at least give you the nicotine that'll take the craziness away. And the day I quit the nicotine is when I put that gum in my mouth and I got sick. I got nauseous from it. So I knew that smoking was over, and thank you, God, I don't smoke anymore. All right, everybody. How about a Wingman PSA? From the 11 facts in life, I'm the fact number 10. You are unique. Love yourself and be your own best friend. You are unique. Love yourself and be your own best friend. Let me tell you something. You have to love yourself if you want to go anywhere in this world. You can't depend on other people to make you feel good. You got to be your own best friend. You don't allow other people to mess with your emotions. Nobody can do anything to you at all unless they touch you. Because other than that, this is all in your head. You're letting people get to you. Nobody can do a thing to you unless they touch you. So I'm going to tell you something. Love yourself. You want to go to the movies? You don't need a date. Take yourself. You have nobody to talk to, but you eat all your popcorn. What do you think about that, Paul, being unique?
Yeah, I agree. You got to take care of yourself. In other words, for other people to make you feel bad, you have to give them permission to do that, and you can take the permission away just as easy and just let them go. Funny you say popcorn. I ate most of the popcorn when we went to see Neil deGrasse Tyson. They're the big thing. I think we
I
did.
used to, I loved Raisinets in the movies. If
Oh,
you
that's
want to know.
perfect. Raisinets and popcorn, perfect.
Perfect. All right. Well, we're going to get to this part of the show called the gouge. And what is the gouge? In the Navy, the gouge is shit you need to know, but sometimes nobody tells you. Well, I'm going to bring back Ace for this gouge because I think it's incredible. Hey, Ace, I have a question for you, and I want you to give me the gouge. That means I want that information that sometimes nobody else gets. If you always want to eat fresh food, whether it's from a fancy restaurant or a fast food restaurant, do you have any tips on to always get fresh and good food from anywhere? Do you have any tips on that, Ace?
Absolutely. I've got the gauge for you. One classic little trick, especially if you're at a fast food spot, is to ask for something slightly customized. For example, you might request your fries with no salt or ask for a burger without a certain topping. That way, they have to make it fresh on the spot. At a nicer restaurant, it's all about timing. Sometimes just asking what's just come out of the kitchen or what's freshest that day can get you the best picks. A friendly chat with a staff can go a long way. So there you go. Couple of inside tricks to keep it all fresh.
That's some good gouge. Hey, Dr. Paul, do you have any other gouge that maybe you can give about getting fresh food? Because I know you're very serious about the things you put in your body.
Yeah, if you're in a restaurant, I always ask the server, what's current, sometimes what do you recommend, or what's the latest thing. A lot of places will offer that right off the bat because that's the most expensive thing there, or give you a range of choices. Um, I would suggest also don't eat a whole lot of fast food. We should all cut down on that. Can't eliminate it 100%. Watch what you put in your body because there's a lot of ingredients that go into things that they don't release. You know what I found out today is that
What?
in some states, the restaurants they have to put the ingredients somewhere on the packaging on what's in them. And even in the state that we live in right now, they don't have to do that, but they will if you ask for it, and they'll put it on the receipt. A little bit late then, but you can get it. So there's a lot of stuff that's still hidden. The thing is, everything that tastes really good is not necessarily good for you. So I'd say let's go easy on the fast food. Let's go easy on the fast food.
That's great advice, Paul. And, I spoke to Dr. Drew, my son, and he said something he learned that's really amazing. He said, everything about you either comes out of your mouth or goes into your mouth. That means the food you eat and the words you say. So be really careful about what goes out of your mouth and definitely what comes into your mouth, because that's what your life is all about. And I'll tell you something. As far as food, let me give you some good advice. Don't ever be mean to your waiter because they are handling your food. So you should always be nice and respectful, especially until you get your food. Because I always remember that Eddie Murphy thing, I make a special wonton for you.
One soup for you.
That was funny, but it's really not. So be really nice to the people who handle your food. Don't you agree?
I agree. Yeah, special wonton soup for this guy. Yeah, I can think those words. Yes, I agree.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much once again for watching our show, listening to our show. And the name of our show is called The Wingmen Show. And the reason for that is because we highlight people who look after others. A wingman is the guy who's watching your six, making sure you don't get shot down. And I have a good wingman for you today. The wingman of the week this week is a guy named Johnny Bell from Atlanta, Georgia. Johnny Bell isn't military. He's not a first responder. He's just a FedEx driver. He saw a woman in trouble and didn't hesitate. Last week in suburban Atlanta, Johnny was on his usual delivery route when he noticed an elderly woman lying halfway in her driveway. Her cane was nearby, groceries were scattered all over, and instead of just calling for help and driving on, Johnny ran to her aid. She had tripped and dislocated her shoulder. Johnny stabilized her, called 911, and waited with her for nearly an hour until the ambulance came, and then helped load her groceries into her house, locked her door, and texted her daughter from her phone to explain everything and what happened. But here's the kicker. Johnny didn't mention a word of this to anyone. The only way that the daughter found out is she found out from a neighbor's doorbell camera and posted it on social media. When the local news finally tracked Johnny down, you know what he said? He said, "We all got a duty to look out for one another." That's what being human is. Johnny Bell, you didn't wear a flight suit or stand a post, but you showed up, stayed calm, and had someone six without expecting anything in return. And that's wingman energy through and through. So, everybody out there, if you can hear my voice, whatever you think is important, and whatever you think is beautiful, and especially whatever makes you happy, may you have that today and forever. I pray for peace.
I pray for peace too, Commander Drew. It's good seeing you again. I hope you enjoy your time on the Mediterranean seas. It looks beautiful behind you. We appreciate all those who listen, like, and share our message. Most of you are not subscribers. Please subscribe. That way you'll get a notification when a new episode comes out. We look forward to talking to you soon once again.
Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time, and that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and refer to use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth, and goodwill towards all men and women.